Hello everybody, I've bought some more crap. Yes, I did the Macallan marmalade first of all, and I'm kind of slightly and somewhat mildly addicted to buying random bits of Macallan memorabilia. And today, may I introduce to you my two Macallan optics. I don't know why I've bought them. I do know why I've bought them, because I find them massively fascinating, but I need your help. At the end of this video, I need your help. So bear with me on this. But there's a very good reason why I bought these two optics. And it was mostly to make this video, but also it's because I absolutely love them. But the main reason is because despite being sort of like lumps of crappy plastic, they do tell us something about the industry and tell us something fascinating about how the market's changed in just a relatively small period of time. Now, before we start looking at that, let's take a look at these things themselves. So unless you're not, well, do you all know what an optic is? An optic is basically, it goes on the back of a bar and a bottle of whiskey goes in it. Well, let's do it with this one because this one's slightly better. And it goes on the back of the bar, so drinks that are being served regularly, you basically go gluk and a measure goes in. Now, these are from the 1990s, so it would only be fitting that we put a Macallan 10-year-old onto one of these optics. So let's see, and this is a 1990s 10-year-old, people. We do have a 1980s, when is it, late 70s, 80s one there as well, but we're not going to put that one on, we're going to put this one on, so let's just hope this cork comes out okay. Yep, there you go. So basically, your barman gets his bottle of whiskey or spirit or whatever he does. He then sticks in one of these, like sort of dispensers. Focus, there we go. It fixes in one of these dispensers. You then invert it and it fills up the chamber there. You would put that there. And then that goes on there. And then essentially you've got a bottle of whiskey on the back bar now, advertised as Macallan single malt Scotch whiskey with your Macallan 10-year-old here. And then with this, you just push it up. I've not got a glass. That's an absolute travesty. Anyway, I can't shoot it, can I? No, that would be, no, fine. I'm gonna just have to tip it back upside down. There we go. So the point of these bottles, or the point of these optics, is to make it a barman's life easier for dispensing whiskey that is, or spirits or gin or vodka. It's normally crap whiskey, gin and vodka normally, because they're the high sort of volume ones. But this brings us to sort of quite an interesting point. I'm going to jump onto these quickly. This one is a blue. I think this is from the late 1990s, because that is very reminiscent of the Macallan 30-year-old Cherry Oak with that blue and gold on there. The other one that I've got here is a white one, and it's interesting because here you can see on the side of it here, it's got the crown and then it's got the 97. So you can see that, come on, crown of the 97 on there, which means that it's from 1997. Interestingly, this one, the optic is attached to the marketing piece here, and the marketing piece is obviously the Macallan and Easter Elke's house there, and it's a 25mm measure. So we know that this one was released in 1997 because that's for the spirits and basically for the government to if you had an inspector coming, they could measure the measures that you were doing, and these are certified measures. Now, the thing that makes these really interesting is that it kind of shows how bloody pompous this industry has become. And I mean that with the greatest respect to it, really. There was a point that Macallan was so proud of its optics that it made an advert about them. And we'll put that up on screen now. And this is actually a page from the Folio 3 book. So obviously everyone with the Folio 3 has read that book cover to cover, so this will come as no surprise to anybody. But they made an advert basically saying there was a pub in Speyside, and it was really strange that they had the Macallan on an optic because it was so popular that he was tired of sort of like, you know, getting a bottle and pouring a dram and this, that and the other. Because if you imagine, and you know, Macallan were obviously condoning the use of optics and sticking their bottles on the back bar on an optic, because why else would they make them otherwise? You wouldn't make something that you didn't want your publicans to use. But can you imagine today walking into a pub and asking for a bar. It's not a pub. We don't deal with pubs now, do we? Going into a very refined whiskey bar and ordering yourself a Macallan 12-year-old, which is £70 a bottle now. You know, 70 quid a bottle at retail. So it's at least going to be £20 a dram. And the barman just going up and going gluk, 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 and doing your 25 more measure. Because to be honest with you, that's, you know, really a very efficient way of pouring a measure. But the whole industry now, it's kind of become so hyper obsessed with itself. Can you imagine Macallan releasing optics for use in pubs today? Like, it just wouldn't fit with the aesthetic. And it, you know, does it matter how your whiskey is dispensed? Well, I would say yes, it does, because if you get your whiskey from an optic like this, you're going to basically, it's like a chug, isn't it? You know what I mean? Like, it's not got any sort of pomp and ceremony to it. It's just basically the same as buying like a Smirnoff. Double up for a quid, mate. Absolutely. The ceremony of receiving a bottle of like a dram now. Imagine even you just ordered a Macallan 12-year-old. I did this at a wedding a couple of months ago, and there was all the whiskies on the bar, all nicely backlit, all dimly lit, and I ordered myself a dram of Macallan 12-year-old, and the barman, he brings a bottle over for you to take a look. He puts it down on the bar, goes off, gets his glass, gets his measure, pours it out, puts it in the glass, leaves a little bit in the measure at the bottom and sloshes it all around everywhere. You don't get anything out of it. Anyway, I'm not bitter about that at all. But, you know, that whole process took probably like 3 minutes between him getting the bottle and pouring me a dram and me being able to start paying for it. Whereas with this, or this, you basically think, well, you'd be done in like 8 seconds. Yeah, you want a Macallan 12, 1 minute, boom, done. And that's what this industry's become so much, it's become obsessed about. It's like everybody says whiskey's just for drinking. And if whiskey was just for drinking, this is something that we're going to really dive into in the next couple of months on the channel. If it is just for drinking, why do we care so much about how it's presented? Why do we care how much about like how it's presented in the glass and with the various branding and all these dimly lit bars and this, that and the other, you know? The brand ambassadors and all the marketing hype that comes with these whiskies in this current market is all pushing whiskey as sort of like something that shows your status rather than something that's just basically to drink. So anyway, what am I going to do with these people? Like, I really need your help now, because my original plan was to get them put here, sort of on the wall behind me, sort of up on the set, something like this on the wall here. Could maybe move this out of the way. Oh, and in case you've not seen this, people, if any of you still watching it sort of however long into you, this is one of the original bits from the Peter Blake Decades box. So it says, please end up with great hair. This is an original oak box artwork created in 2012 to celebrate the 80th birthday of Peter Blake. So this is kind of like the proof that Peter Blake box isn't just a set of whiskey, it's a work of art by Peter Blake. So anyway, that currently lives there. So should I move that and put some optics up on the wall here like this? Boom, I could probably have the 2 of them there, couldn't I? But this comes with a problem, because what bottles do I put on them? Because if I put these Macallans on, the whiskey's going to get battered, because this room is south facing, there's a big window here, and they'd get baked in sunlight all day long, so they'd be ruined in next to no time. Yes, I could drink the whiskey a bit faster, but I love this whiskey, so I'm kind of like savouring it really. But anyway, and that leads me to my second point. I've got a 5-year-old. If him and his mates see something like this with a liquid in it and they go, oh, yeah, let's start dispensing daddy's whiskey out, I don't know what to do with them. I genuinely don't know what to do with them, because I could put them in work somewhere, but again, like, it's a bit more utilitarian and like I can't really see them as much. So what do I do with them? Do we give them away to you guys? I don't know. Get in the comments below and let me know what you think is the best use for these optics.